Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Well, let's talk Meyers Mohawks junior high school football. Joining us is head coach Corey Brenner. What was a special year this year for the Mohawks, Corey? Let's talk a little bit about your team. First up, you go 10-0. Tell us about your season.
Well, John, we came in this summer with a lot of new faces to the Meyers football program. We ended up bonding together pretty well, and we ended up having a successful season by going 10-0 this year.
Let's talk about some of the guys that you had. First up, skill-wise on the offensive end, tell us about some of the guys that played a key role for you.
Well, this year we had a kid who came up from the mini football program. His name was Omar Kelly. Our offense usually is like a spread zone read offense, and Omar, he's a very special kid. He executed well for us this year on the offensive line. We had a couple new faces, a couple kids that came out for the first year. Chris Pinetto, real strong kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him. If this group of this offensive line stays together, they're ninth grade oriented. They have some bright future ahead of them. So.
How about some of the other guys on the offensive end as far as, whether you have a running game or some receivers or some toughness there at Meyers for the junior high that went 10-0?
You know what? One of the successful offense, you have to have more than one piece of the puzzle. We had a couple kids who were very, who flew under the radar. We had Jansen Wilborn kid. He's a receiver for us. He also played some QB for me. He's a very, quick kid, long strider. We had a couple tough kids in the backfield. Darian Tyson, running back. Andre Crowder at fullback. And we had this year we had a nice sized tight end kid came out. Michael Horvath. He's a pretty big kid, about 6'2", 180 pounds, and eighth grade only. We're excited about them. Sky's the limit with them.
Talking with Corey Brenner, the head coach of Meyers Junior High School football, and the Mohawks go 10-0, and obviously a lot of these guys will be moving up to varsity for next year. Corey, when we head over to the defensive side of the ball, tell us about some of the guys that stepped up and played well, whether at the D line or the linebacker position.
Well, we had a great group, great defense. I think we only let up by 40-some points in 10 games this year. Was pretty ecstatic about that. I put that all on Coach Pat Frank, his first year as a defensive coordinator under me. He did an excellent job. Our success started off from our 5-3 defense and our Mike linebacker, who's Andre Crowder. Andre Crowder is a very tough kid, hard-nosed kid, old-school football player. I know I spoke with Coach Hansen, and we're excited for that kid and his future. And we have nice size defensive line coming over from the offensive side of the ball. So one kid that stood out for us, Tyler Brown. Tyler Brown played defensive end. I think he might have finished this year with double digits in sack. So like the rest of the guys, his future's bright in our program.
Corey, how about in the defensive backfield, some of the athletes you had, probably a couple of similar guys that did well for you offensively as well. So we'll head to the defensive backfield and/or anybody on the special teams.
Well, we always got to, Omar Kelly, back to Omar Kelly and Jansen Wilborn. Those two kids, they played our middle safety and our cornerback spot. Those two kids, they're just, electric when you see them, if it's, pick six or if they're returning punts. Both those guys, I think, both had pick sixes this year, multiple pick sixes, I would say, and that they both had a chance to return punts. Both, I believe, which returned punts for touchdowns. Then we had, our second quarterback, Deion Davis, who flew a bit under the radar behind those two guys. He had a nice, solid year for us this year. He answered the call every time his name came up. So, like a bunch of ninth grade kids who I think can do something special on the next level and maintain that great defensive backfield that the Mohawk varsity has this year.
Corey, when you talk about, you're getting junior high kids to play football, obviously, wins are something if you get them, they feel great, but you're getting kids, you want to develop them to become good varsity football players. I mean, 10-0 is a great season. But how about, the mindset in the weight room, getting kids, used to working out and showing them some different things about the weight room and how to work out properly and those things, just to kind of get kids acclimated at the junior high level to see if they're ready to take that next step for varsity?
It's a thing you want to get team chemistry. We had a meeting, Coach Hansen, myself, and the rest of the assistants. We want to get these kids. We're really trying to get these kids to buy into the program. And I think this ninth grade group, working with some of the sophomores, a couple of the juniors coming around, getting together, working in groups, competing with each other in the weight room, having fun. We're setting it up so it's more so as a competition with each other to push each other as opposed to, just, show up when you want, do your stuff and get out. I mean, we're setting up groups. We're setting up, we want to set up, combines within our program. We really want these kids to buy in. By that, by these kids buying in, these ninth grade kids, I think, by pushing each other, it's only going to make the team better. And I think, with the sky's the limit with these ninth grade kids going 10-0, I mean, we completely and utterly dominated most of the teams in our conference. I think, we can really Coach Hansen can really make a run in the future with these group of kids coming through the program.
And you bring up a good point. Some teams get motivated by, having a lot of losses and understanding, hey, you're going to have to work harder to get to the level of some of the other teams that are successful. You guys are working from the motivation standpoint of, hey, we reached a carrot, we got to 10-0. Let's go for more now, as a lot of these guys are going to move up to the varsity level. Well, Corey, I know you and your coaching staff there at Meyers and the junior high level, we don't hear a lot of stories all the time on junior high, but hey, congratulations. What a successful season for the Mohawks, and look forward to hearing from you again and seeing how they do at the varsity level.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mendola. I really do, and I thank you for your time. I really like to say, this season, could not have been as successful as without my coaching staff. Brenner Owens, Kyle Heiser, Pat Frank, and Matt Rochelmy, who are all first-year guys who were on a volunteer basis. They really put the time in, dedicated to the kids, and they worked hard. So I give them all the credit, and I give all the kids all the credit this year.
Well, like anything else, a lot of junior high staffs are pretty young. This one, a very young staff at Meyers, and they reap some good rewards. Head coach Corey Brenner. Meyers Mohawks Junior High School 10-0 here on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.